Hi there, welcome to Week's Ideas. I hope you're doing great. I'm Walter and I'm doing great myself. And in this tutorial, I want to share with you a little knowledge I've just gotten for order tracking. Now, this is going to be a very short and simple tutorial. So if you follow me to the end, you're going to benefit a lot from this tutorial. So I encourage you to watch this video to the very end. Now, let's assume that you have an order on your website and you head over to your dashboard and head over to sales and orders, and then you click on an order and you head over to the add tracking number and you assign the tracking number to your customer, and an email is sent out to them with their tracking number. Now they can decide to always track from the email, or they can copy that tracking number and bring it straight to your website and decide to track it directly from your website. And when they click on track, it brings them to this website called ordertracker.com. Now this website already populates their order number and is giving them information about their order, and they can easily just track order from your website. Then you are in the right video. So I'm going to show you the step-by-step method that I used to create this feature. As you can see, we only have a text input and a button element. And if you follow me to the very end, I'm going to also show you a simple trick that you can make this feature very easy and very convenient for your customers, because at the end of the day, customer satisfaction is what we aim for in the business of e-commerce. So just before we jump right into this tutorial, if you haven't done so already, and if you also don't want to miss out on videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and also give this video a thumbs up. And you don't want to miss out on updates when I release amazing videos like this, so turn on your bell notification to get a ding when I release videos like this. And also leave a comment if you think this feature is useful for you and if you've already applied it to your website. Now let's get started. Great, so this is a Wix template and I just simply copied it for this tutorial, and I want to scroll the way down and I want to look for a very good place to add this form to. Now you can choose to add it on a separate page. That is totally fine. For me, I'm going to add it to the home page just above the footer section. So add a new section, and it's going to create a section for you just right above the footer. And I'm going to change this color to a darker color. Now you can choose to style this section anyhow you want it, but it should match your website's design. Next, I want to add a text input element, and to add that element, we need to make sure that our dev mode is enabled. So go ahead and turn on dev mode. Now once you do, go ahead and minimize the code panel and head over to input. Now head over to the text. Under the text, select the text input and drag and drop any of these text input elements to your section. Now go ahead and click on design, and over here go ahead and customize the design as much as you want to. For me, I already have a design that I've done before, and I think all I need to do is just to head over to the focus and just change the focus to a brighter color so that looks better, and my design is done. Now go ahead and brand it exactly how you want it to look like. And next I'm going to go ahead and click on that input element and head over to settings. And here we're going to leave the type as a text because tracking numbers are alphanumeric, so you don't need to change anything here. Now let's go ahead and change the title and say add tracking number. All right, that's looking good. And then finally we're going to head over to the placeholder and say tracking number. Great, now this is looking amazing. And finally we're going to add a button element. So head over to the add elements and go to button, and here drag and drop any button element that you want, and then go ahead and customize it. Awesome. Now I'm going to go ahead and change this label to say track. Great, now this is all looking good. I'm going to go ahead and group these together, and I'm going to open up my toolbar and I'm going to align this to the center and to the middle of this section, and that is looking well arranged. Now the next thing we're going to do is to start adding the functionality for this show. All right, so now we have our elements in place, and the next thing we want to do is to add a little bit of code to make this interactive. So I'm going to head over to this page. I have a link to this code in the description below so you can check it out. And here I'm going to go ahead and copy this code, and I'm going to bring that to my page. So I'm going to highlight all of this, delete and paste in the code. And obviously we have a lot of errors because we have not named our elements or given them their IDs. All right, so the first one we have is called number tracker, and this is the ID for our text inputs. So click on your text inputs and copy this name right here and just replace it right there. And once you do, as you can see, we have fewer errors. And finally we have one more error, which is the track, and this is going to be the ID for our button element. So click on that and paste right over there. Now as you can see, we don't have any errors at all, and it's time for us to test out this feature if it works. I'm going to go ahead and publish this website. Save and then preview. Great. Now right over here you can see how this feature works. This button is disabled until we have a tracking number in the tracking number input, and if we paste in this tracking number and click on track, this is going to go ahead and track this particular order. And as you can see, it pulls up the information that we need for this particular order. So as you can see, we have all the information regarding this order, and this is typically what it does. Now if we go ahead and refresh this page and we scroll all the way down, you can see that the tracking number has disappeared and this button is disabled. Now this brings us to the final part, where I promised you in the beginning that you're going to learn how to make this procedure very seamless for your customers. And this is when we don't delete the tracking number and we leave this button enabled, so they can easily track their orders the next time they visit this page. So let's head back to our code, and back here in this code, I'm going to go ahead and copy this function right here, and I'm going to bring that back to the code, and just in the next line I'm going to paste that. And as you can see, we need to import the local because we're using weak storage to store the tracking number, and when they reload the page, the tracking number is saved in the number tracker. So here, let's go ahead and import weak storage local storage. All right, so I'm going ahead to import the local from the weak storage front end, and the local is actually memory that allows you to save items for a very long period of time. So even though I close this tab and close this browser, next time I open it again, the number is still going to be there. It's not going to be deleted, and that is going to make it so much easier for your customers to always come back to their tracking without having to type in the tracking all the time. So now we have this function, and we need to call this function when the page loads. So let's copy this function and call it immediately when the page loads. And most importantly, we need to add another line. So this is going to be the line where we set the item or where we save the item. So we're going to be saving the item to our local storage when we click on the button, on the track button. And so let's go ahead and publish and save and see how this goes. So right now I've imputed the tracking number, and when I click on track, it's going to go ahead and pull up the track. And when I go ahead and refresh this page and then scroll all the way down, so as you can see, the tracking number is still saved, the button is enabled, and when they visit this page again, they just need to click on track, and this is going to automatically track their item without needing to input this all over again. Now this is going to make it so much easier for them to track their orders and keep them coming to your website. Now let's just take a quick look at this code and see how it works. Most importantly, we have this validate number tracker, which is the function that we use to check if the user has imputed a value or imputed a tracking number to the text input, and if the text input itself is valid, which means there are no errors at all. And then next, we're going to assign a link to our button. So the link is going to be on this button element here, and the link is going to be this website, which is ordertracker.com track, and then the value of our text inputs is the tracking number. So that's the reason why we have this tracking number right here. So this is the syntax. This is a dynamic content. So the tracking number is going to be held in our text inputs element. And then we're going to enable the track button if all of these conditions are met, if there is a number in our text inputs and if it is valid. If it's not valid, we're going to disable the button. And that is very important, because then if there's no value, then we cannot track anything. And this function is being called when the page loads. It's going to check the condition that we have here and then decide to enable or disable the button. And we're also going to call the function when we are typing in a value into our text input. So when we are typing, we're going to check the condition. And finally, we have a function which is called is locally saved. So if the item has been saved already in our browser, then we're going to perform certain actions. So as you can see, we are checking by using the get item, and here if we do have an item that is being saved, we're going to populate our text inputs with what was being saved in our local storage, and then we're also going to again populate our link or the link of the button with this URL, which is right above here. And again, we are also going to enable the button if something is saved, else we do not enable the button. So that's how simple this is. And I hope this tutorial was very useful. If it was, let me know how useful it is for you, and share with everyone that you've actually applied this feature and it works well for you. And if it doesn't really work for you, you can also let us know, and you can also shoot me an email and reach out to me on my website at wixideas.com, and I'll be happy to assist you. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the next video.